Hi, this is the mini Magnum machine available from the Flying Coffee Company. It's an instant products machine. It's very handy for small spaces. It's only 16.5 centimetres wide and it takes instant products like chocolate, granular milk and instant coffee as well. These go into containers inside. There's 3 containers in there, one for coffee, one for chocolate, one for milk. We pull one of these out. There's a drive at the back which drives the ingredients out, and if you just have a look in there, that's inside the hopper, and there's a little drive wheel at the bottom to push ingredients out. The other ingredients are the coffee and the milk, and these are in similar containers. We'll just take these out a minute so you can see inside the machine. The operation of the machine is to dispense instant ingredients into these hoppers here. Coffee goes into that one and milk and chocolate, or either or in that one. And we'll just show you how to clean it at the moment while there's no product in there. At the end of each day you need to flush the machine. So after you've been using the machine, you need to place a container underneath it and flush it. The way you do that is just to press this red button here. As you can see, it's got these different operations on here. If you press it once, it'll flush, twice it'll go on standby, 3 times you can audit the machine so you can see what drinks you've been doing, and you can also go into program mode if you do it 4 times. So we just press it once, the machine will now flush. That just fits into the cup. But what it was doing there was vibrating all the valves inside the machine and flushing everything with water. And that's the cleaning operation you should do every day. Once a week there's a further operation you need to do, which is to take these bits apart here and give them a good clean. To do that, the top ring there will just pull forwards and lift off. This is a new machine, so it is a little bit stiff, but it will get easier with time. That ring at the top there actually collects any steam, and there's a little fan through this hole here which sucks any steam and particles away. A lot of times these little rubber washers get lost, but it is important that they are on there, so try not to lose them. Then you have the mixing bowl assembly. That's all released with a little lever here at the bottom. If I push that lever around, it just clips around, and then all this mixing assembly will come off along with a little pipe at the bottom. That's where the ingredient drops in and it's mixed in this chamber here. If you look over here, that's the little mixing blade on there which spins around. To get that off you need to give it a good tug, and then the base plate here will also come off, and for that you need to rotate that further round, and then it'll just slide off that spindle. You can then wash all these components carefully, give them a good clean, dry them fairly well, and then put them back together. Just the other side of this, if you ever find any ingredients in here, there's a little hole here for things to drain through, but if you do, then this seal is gone and needs replacing. That should be done as part of the service anyway, but that's what the problem is if you find anything behind it. So to put it back together, on the spindle there, push it right back and then turn it around until it just clicks there and those holes line up. Then we put the whipper back on. There's a little arrow on the whipper, if you can see it just there. That little arrow denotes where there's a flat inside that hole which matches up with the flat on that spindle there. You can just make that out. So if you line the arrow up with the spindle, it should just push straight back on until it goes click. Now again, we just need to fit this bit back on. That tube there goes in the hole there where the water comes through, and these 2 little lugs go in these holes here, which is why it's important to have that lined up just there. And of course the water spout back in the hole down there. So if we pop that in there and then wriggle this little lot in so that engages in the water pipe, and those 2 little lugs engage in the down there. and then to lock it all in position you just push that little lever around until it's vertical, and that's all locked back in. And the last thing to do is to put this ring back on the top. I always find it easier if you push it on like that first and then turn it around until it lines up with the hole at the back, and then push it in. Once you've got all that assembled, you can then put these containers back in with all the ingredients in. These haven't got ingredients at the moment, but if you have ingredients in there, if you turn these little spouts up, it stops anything falling out while you're putting it in. And on the small machine you need to put the left hand one in. It locates at the back on one of those drive wheels, and in a little hole there, I'll show you that again, there's a black drive wheel at the back there, and that locates on this drive here, and there's a little spigot on the bottom there which locates in a hole in the base plate here. So we'll slide that one back in and locate it in the hole there. Now that one's not going in very easily. If that happens, you might find that the little splines there are lined up incorrectly. So if you just turn it a little bit, it should go back in easily, just like that. I'll then now turn these spouts down so that the ingredients can fall into the hoppers, and lastly we'll put the central one back in, which is the chocolate one. It locates, and twist that one down as well. Now, I always find if you just refill the machine and done that, some ingredient may well drop out of these spouts as you're putting them back in. So I always find it a good idea to flush the machine through again once you've replaced those canisters, and that should keep your machine happy. The other buttons on here, if I press the button twice, if you look at the front screen at the moment, it's displaying all the drinks you can make. If I press it twice, it'll actually go into standby mode, so you can actually clean the front screen while the machine's switched on and nothing will happen. If you press the button again, it'll go back to normal. Again, the third one down will give you the audit, so if you want to check which drinks you'll have, it'll come up on the display on the front, and then program mode is the last one on there, which you shouldn't need to change. So I lock the machine. You can see on the options on the front here, you can do cappuccino, cafe latte, white coffee, black coffee, chocolate, chocomilk, mocha, which is chocomilk with coffee as well, and an espresso. You can also have the option here of going for strong or large. And down the bottom here you've got hot water, which is a measured dose of hot water, and top up, which is just a touch button which will give you a bit more water should you need it. And that's the versatile mini Magnum coffee machine from the Flying Coffee Company.